The polls have closed, the votes are in, and Oklahoma City is getting a new downtown arena. I'm Jenni Carlson, joined by Barry Tramel here on Sellout Crowd. Barry, this was a landslide. Unlike we see in the NBA, we don't see many landslide victories, blowout victories, but this sure was. What's your feeling just about how this vote turned out today?
Well, I think the arena appealed to a lot of people. Clearly, Thunder fans, NBA fans, but I think it also appealed to a lot of people who aren't necessarily basketball aficionados and don't necessarily follow the team. This was a project that uh, could bring a lot of civic pride with a beautiful new facility, and I think it also shows that the faith that the voters have in their civic leaders. For 30 years, we've been voting on these maps projects, and the city has delivered on every one of them. What the city says it will do, it does. And what it says will produce has generally produced. The city has been transformed. Those of us who remember the old days of downtown Oklahoma City and the old days of the city itself remain transfixed at the transformation we've seen. And I think a lot of people, independent of basketball fans, realize that.
Yeah, it's fitting that 30 years ago, this week was the initial original MAPS vote at a time when there was no proven track record for what MAPS could be or would do for Oklahoma City. Obviously, that was transformational. The Oklahoma City has passed several maps since then. This was not a maps vote, Barry, though. It was a single issue, one thing that Oklahoma City voters were voting on, and that was a downtown arena. It seems like, this speaks to, like you said, maybe a larger issue than basketball, although now the Thunder stays. They have agreed to stay in this new building for at least 25 years, which is likely at least through 2050. How does that sit with you to know that the Thunder is bound Oklahoma City at least through 2050?
Well, I think it's great to have that security and that sense of stability and knowing that, the Thunder or the city doesn't have to worry about where it will be or how it will keep the team or whatever the case may be. But I'm most happy just for really the younger generation of Oklahomans because I'm old enough I don't remember the building of State Fair Arena, but I've certainly walked in there hundreds and hundreds of times in my life and treasure the memories I've made there. I do remember the Myriad opening in 1972, and I remember all the memories I made there, other people made there. My wife saw Elvis there in 1976, and that's a memory she'll take to her grave. So another generation remembers all the memories we made at the Paycom Center, opened as the Ford Center, and for the last 20 years, just has been a blessing in Oklahomans' lives. And now all of a sudden, we're going to have this palatial new arena, and the younger generation coming up will have untold memories as well. So to me, that's when I think about places that the city builds or that are available to citizens. It's just the sense of community that it combines us and the memories that are made.
Hey, if David Holt needed a pitch man, why didn't he just call you? You could have sold everybody right there.
Yeah, I was on the radio today with David Holt, Traber, on the Sports Animal today. Jim Traber and I were together, and David Holt joined us, and I made a similar spiel about something, and Traber told the mayor, he said, "You should have hired Tram to do my campaign, to do the campaign." Turns out they didn't need me. We had a landslide anyway.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, we don't know a lot of the details of this build, Barry. We don't know a place. We haven't seen any renderings, which frankly I was a little surprised by that we didn't get to see some renderings, at least something that would show voters what could be. But what's your sense of what this may look like, be like? Because Paycom Center was not built for the NBA; it was built for hockey. So it's been brought along. It's been loved. It's definitely been money well spent because we got not one but two NBA teams out of the Paycom Center. But what's your best sense of what we might be getting with this yes vote?
Well, I can speak to two different kinds of people. If you've been able to travel around and see some of the nation's best arenas, think of what they've got in Indianapolis with Bankers Life Fieldhouse, the old Conseco Fieldhouse, and it's just, it's like a high school gym that's opulent and with all these crazy cool stuff. And you walk in, you say, "This is great." or American Airlines Center in Dallas, which was built about the same time as the Paycom Center, but is much, much more opulent and much more user friendly, or clearly what Chase Center is for the Warriors. And we've really never had that in our NBA experience. We've had a functional building and we loved it and we thought it was great, but there wasn't anything spectacular about it. For the amount of money that the city is going to pour into this building, we're going to get something spectacular. And I don't know that they know I don't know that they know all the details yet. I don't know that they want to be tied down. That's probably why we didn't get any renderings. But this is the city's chance to do something really spectacular. And when you look at some of the things we've done with maps projects in the past, they have been spectacular. Just didn't happen to be with the arena. Now it's going to be.
Hey, lastly, our old buddy Royce Young, who used to write for ESPN, now works for the Thunder, actually tweeted something earlier that I thought really resonated. He said, Oklahoma City has had these boom and bust cycles. We've gone up and we've gone down, and sometimes we've self-inflicted the boom and the bust on ourselves in a lot of ways. He said something like, "This was a chance to have a boom or bust moment." How significant is this that Oklahoma City? I mean, we've seen arena deals fall through in other places, and sometimes cities and teams will work it out. Sacramento worked it out. Milwaukee worked it out. Seattle did not. I mean, we've seen it work. We've seen it not. What does this mean that Oklahoma City was able to do this, not have to redo any sort of plan? And now, like you say, we get somewhere opulent that will look and feel like these other big time NBA arenas.
Well, I mean, I think this is a chance for Oklahoma City to shine. The truth of the matter is, in our early days of the NBA, when Durant and Westbrook were young and deep playoff runs were sort of automatic, and the American sporting consciousness would come to Oklahoma City every spring, and you would go out and chat with Charles Barkley. I think you guys took a river front boat ride. And
Thank
everybody
goodness
thought,
for maps, or we wouldn't have had a river to go on.
that's exactly right. And everybody think, yes, this is great. This is cool. And it was sort of just a really quaint, cool story about little old Oklahoma City. But now we've got the chance to really knock people off their feet with what we've got. And turns out we've got us another basketball team that's really good. And maybe when this new arena opens, will be in its prime still. So, and I do also think the idea that Oklahoma City is sort of a fringe NBA market. David Holt used that. He wasn't fear mongering, but used that alarming words that, hey, there's people that don't want us in the NBA. I don't know if that's true, but there are markets that would love this franchise and they would love to get their hooks into the Thunder and move them to Vegas or Seattle or parts unknown. And that's not going to happen. We don't have to worry about the arena. We don't have to worry about franchise movement. We don't have to worry about all the things that you sort of have to worry about when you don't have arena certainty. And it's going to be a fun 20, 30 years before we have to worry about this again. So I plan to be around when it happens, but I'll be 92 in 30 years. So I wouldn't lay any bets on it. So, it's sort of cool that we've got a long, long runway of stability.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's amazing to sort of think about what this team currently, where it might be when the building opens. And obviously in 25 years after the building opens, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander will be well out of basketball. Chet Holmgren will be well out of basketball at that point. So it's crazy to think just what Oklahoma City has essentially gotten in the Thunder agreeing to do that 25-year deal. Tomorrow we get back to the basketball. We're not talking about a new arena for a while. I'm sure it will percolate into our coverage at Sellout Crowd as plans continue to evolve. But we know tonight Oklahoma City is getting a new downtown arena. If this is your first time checking us out on Sellout Crowd, please subscribe on your favorite podcast app. And if you like what you hear, leave us a review. We'll see you again real soon.